Hey, what's up guys, it's just.j.c. So this is probably the first time that y'all have seen me in uniform, right? So this is Sergeant Santos right now, and today we're gonna do a vehicle that's a little bit different than the norm. In the past, some of you may know I've been quarantined, and while I was quarantined, I wanted to make good use of my time, so I teamed up with a lot of my recruiter friends who had a bunch of their recruits, also known as DEPers, so they're in the delayed entry program. They had a lot of questions that they were asking their recruiters, so the recruiters teamed up with me, and we went ahead and established some Zoom calls where I answered some questions for them that they had about BMT, basic military training for the Air Force as a whole. So I was able to help them out, but right now, being in a new flight, I'm very busy. I'm really tired right now. It's actually 10:30. I just got off work. So I work in the late shift. So I want to still answer these questions because I've been getting a lot of influx of them, but I don't have the time to do Zoom calls. So what I'm going to do is going to make this YouTube video that's going to answer some of the questions that they sent over to me directly, and also answer some general questions that you may have before coming here to BMT. So hopefully this video helps you out, but if it does, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the comment button, because I'm going to come up with a lot more videos that's going to help and set you up for success before you get here. But before I do that, I want to say that this video does not speak for the entire Air Force, nor does it speak for all of BMT. This just goes off my experiences and my personal views, and just pretty much what has been going on as of late. So I want to make sure that I cleared that up before we go on with this video. With that being said, let me go ahead and change real quick into something a little bit more comfortable while I answer these questions. Alright, so that feels a lot better, and I apologize if I'm a little hard to understand. Again, I'm in the early weeks of training, so if you watched the last video I posted, I kind of talk about it, but it's the early weeks of training, meaning there's a lot of motivation, a lot of vocal direction going on with the trainees. So I apologize if I'm a little hard to understand, if my voice sounds raspy, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into these questions. And so I teamed up with my buddy Sergeant Arcega, who actually is from the same place. We grew up together, and he is a recruiter at the 343rd RCS at Duluth, Minnesota. So shout out to you, Sergeant Arcega. Thanks for putting this together and getting these questions asked. But the first set of questions is from Christian Lococo in New Orleans. His recruiter is actually Sergeant Roger, who I believe I went to tech school with. So Sergeant Roger, if you're watching this, what's up, man? Hopefully this answers the questions to your recruit, to your DEPer. And if it doesn't, go ahead and message me on Instagram. I'll make sure I'll help you out. But the first question that Christian has is, number one, how often will I get to talk to my wife? So that question, it can be simply answered in two ways. You're gonna be able to talk to your wife through mail, right? So that's gonna differ how fast the mail goes to and from yourself and your wife. And number two, you're gonna be able to talk to your wife weekly on a phone call that you're gonna get. That's called a COVID call. All right, so because of COVID and what's happening right now, Commander has directed us to give you the opportunity to talk to your families, because a lot of stuff has been going on. So you can have that COVID call once a week. That's going to be in a minimal of 5 minutes to talk to your family. Number two, how long is the quarantine period and what does that look like? So the quarantine period is a little bit different. I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but when you get here, you're going to get into what's called ROM. All right, so ROM is restriction of movement, which pretty much means for 2 weeks you're going to be restricted to the squadron area, meaning all the appointments that we would normally take you to, they're all going to come to you. So that's what's going to happen. Other than that, I don't want to really get into the specifics about quarantine, because that's really on the medical side of BMT, and that's something that one of those things that you'll cross if it happens, right? One of those bridges that you'll cross if it happens when you get here. Number three, if my wife were to have an emergency, can she get in contact with me at all, and if so, how? So if your wife does have an emergency, she can get into contact with us. Like one example, maybe it's a death in the family, somebody in your immediate family, that she can get into contact with us and be able to contact our first sergeant, and from there we'll see if we can get the help that you need. But hopefully that doesn't happen to you, right? But there is a way for her to do that. If that does happen, I want you to get with your specific MTI or instructor and ask the question there, because it might be a little bit different between the squadrons. Number four, how long is is it counting the quarantine period? So it all depends on whether or not you have positive with symptoms or without symptoms, and those days range from 10 to 14. Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the quarantine because that is on the medical side and up to public health and not really under our control as instructors. So some of the more generic questions that was asked from some of the deppers was cell phone use. I kind of answered that earlier, so you're going to get that 5-minute COVID call. Minimum 5 minute, right? You can always get more. So that's one of the things that we can kind of use to motivate y'all, but you're gonna get that once a week phone call. ROM, kind of touched about ROM, restriction of movement, kind of talk to basis on that. PT, all right, so PT is still happening. If you have been watching the news, as far as Air Force goes, the waist measurement has been taken out, so that still leaves your run, push-ups, and sit-ups. So we still have PT. We actually have a new PT program that we've been doing that encompasses a lot of high-intensity interval training and a lot of things to get your heart rate going other than just running for 30 minutes. So PT is still happening. Obviously, when you PT, you're going to be spread out and we're going to have that social distance, so you're not going to be PTing with the mask. So if your question is if you have to run around or if you're working out or whatever with the mask, the answer is no. When immediately after PT, you're putting that mask back on. Tips. So tips. The biggest tips that I give y'all is to be open. All right, when you get here, obviously it's going to be a change of culture. It's going to be a lot of things a lot different than maybe what you're used to. So what I ask is that you come in with an open mind and you're willing to learn. The biggest things that we see issues on with trainees is that you made a bad decision before you're coming down here. So don't do anything that will get you in trouble while you're here, right? Some of the things I'm leaning towards is that your analysis test. So don't do anything that's going to get you kicked out before you start. Furthermore, PT. Ask your recruiters, what the PT standards are. They know what it is. And if you do that and if you work out and you work towards those standards, you shouldn't have any issues when you get here to pass the PT test. But one of the biggest things that we see issues with are trainees failing their PT test because they can't meet the minimal for push-ups or sit-ups or a run. So what I ask is that you prepare. All right, so prepare for it. That way when you're here, it's something that you're already accustomed to, and you don't have to make huge leaps and bounds so you can pass on that last PT test. So practice, prepare, and work out. If you want to kind of get ahead of the game, I would advise you to memorize the Air Force song, Airman's Creed. That's something that you can ask your recruiter for. You can Google search. You're going to be required to know that when you get here. So the more stuff that you know when you get here, the less stuff that you're going to have to worry about to remember, because I promise you, we're going to ask you about those things. Undergarments. So I think the question about undergarments, I guess I'll talk generally speaking on this. So you're gonna get that stuff issued to you, especially for the males. All right. The next question: when do they have to wear masks? Can they bring their own mask? So you're gonna get issued masks. So first, don't worry about the mat or bringing your own mask. You're gonna get issued masks, and we're gonna tell you to wear the mask that's issued to you. So as far as the mask wear goes, it is almost 24/7. Obviously not when you're PTing or when you're sleeping or showering, right? But you have to wear the mask as much as possible, because we're gonna make sure with COVID going on that you wear the mask, protect yourself, protect your wingman, and then you also practice that social distancing. So mask wear, it is the norm in BMT. A few months ago, or maybe earlier in 2020, it wasn't so much normal, but now it is the norm. And myself and all the other instructors and all of us, including all the trainees, everyone will be wearing masks. And the biggest thing is that we want to make sure that you're safe, that your safety is our number one priority. So some of these questions, especially with the public health and medical, I will kind of give you some of the things that we're doing here, but I'll let you find out when you get here, because it's one of those things that when we cross the bridge, then you'll know what to do. And that's really all I had for the questions. So hopefully this video helped y'all out. Again, I'm doing this because I don't have the time to do the Zoom calls, and I feel like if I do a YouTube video, I'll be able to reach a lot more of you out there to answer the questions, because a lot of y'all have the same questions, and hopefully this video answers those questions for you. If you have more questions, feel free, go ahead and hit down in the comments below, and I'll make sure I'll try to reply to all those and give y'all the answers that you need. But what I ask before you get here is that y'all come here with an open mindset, come here motivated, and come here ready to become airman. Because if you do those things, I promise you that BMT, it's gonna be hard, right? And I don't want to sugarcoat anything, but because you're joining the 1%, it's not gonna be easy. But I promise you that you stick with it, you give it your best, and you keep pushing forward, and you should be fine. So hopefully this video helped y'all out. Hopefully it answered some of your questions that some of y'all might have. Again, if you have any questions I didn't answer, go ahead and hit it up in the comments below. So this is my first set of this kind of video, but I make videos all the time on my YouTube channel. But this is gonna start one of my series called Ask an MTI, where I'm gonna go ahead and team up with different types of people, different career fields, different jobs, maybe even different branches. Like my boy Gerald, Space Jam Tactical, y'all might know him. We met in the deployment, and we're actually from the same area, but he's in the Space Force now, so we're gonna do a video together and do a collab and answer any questions that y'all might have. But before I let y'all go, if y'all like what you saw and if I helped y'all out, make sure you hit up the like, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit up the comments below. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll see y'all next week.